Chaim. I was once watching a Hebrew video in which you were talking about the campaign to free Soviet Jewry. I forget what the video was called. I remember you saying that you put up Russian signs in New York City saying to call a certain number to talk about sex with Olga or Natasha or other Russian female names. I think you said that Soviet diplomats called that number and the number led to the JDL. I saw the video a long time ago and don't remember it all, so I'm not sure if I'm getting the story right. Could you tell us about that experience? Unquote. No, it's a little bit of a mix-up. That's not exactly what it was about. It's actually a pretty famous story. The great Dr. William Pearl, Zichrono Livracha, Alav HaShalom, a wonderful saintly Jew who passed away a number of years ago. He was a Jewish hero who during the Holocaust was an attorney, a Jewish attorney in Vienna, Austria. And when the Nazis took over, he was a Jabotinsky follower. He spent and devoted all his time to saving the Jews, and he saved the lives of tens of thousands of Jews. Tens of thousands of Jews were saved because of Dr. Pearl, because of his efforts. He got tens of thousands of Jews out and saved their lives. This Jewish hero then decided that he supported Rabbi Kahana and agreed with Rabbi Kahana, and he became for many years, he was the chairman of the Washington, D.C. Area Jewish Defense League, of the JDL. And he came up with so many brilliant ideas, and one of his brilliant ideas was to have stickers. You know these stickers you have, the little stickers that you put up all over the place, and the stickers would say, if you want free sex, or you want free phone sex, or you want to speak to Olga or Natasha, it's free. Sexual messages. That's what the stickers would say, and it would have the number of the Soviet mission to the United Nations, or the Soviet airline office, Aeroflot, or the Soviet trade office, Amtorg, or the Soviet news agency, Pravda. We put all these different numbers on there. We'd say, speak to Olga, and we put the Soviet airline office. Speak to Natasha, we put the Soviet UN mission number. And they only had a limited number of telephone numbers that were available to the general public, which they had to have, which it was very important to the business they were conducting in the United States that those numbers be open, that they have a clear line. And in those days, this is going back quite a bit. In those days, when you would make calls, they had to answer. They had to have someone live answering the phone, at least during business hours. And so we put those stickers with the sex messages on the stickers in every dirty neighborhood, in cities all over the United States. Times Square at that time, before Rudy Giuliani cleaned it up, Times Square was all prostitutes and filthy, horrible neighborhood with sex shops and prostitutes. So we put the stickers all over Times Square. And the red light districts in various cities, we put them all over the place. Anyway, when that happened many years ago, and when I resurrected the JDL in the 80s, when Rabbi Kahana appointed me national chairman, and I resurrected the JDL in the mid 1980s, we started that program again, and we had thousands and thousands of people, Schwarzes, and everybody looking at the stickers and calling and saying, yes, we're going to call, and they all started calling these numbers and tied up all the Soviet phone lines. They were tied up. The Soviets couldn't get anything done, and their workers, they were going crazy. The Soviets filed a complaint. It was in the newspapers. There were articles about it. The Soviets filed a complaint with the UN host committee, saying that Zionist telephone hooliganism is preventing us from doing business in United States. We cannot do business in United States because of Zionist telephone hooliganism. And, it was just, this is before we even, and this was when I first took over JDL. We started this, 83, 84, when I first took over. And this is even before the bombings, and they went crazy, the Soviets. We drove them nuts. They changed the phone numbers. We put the new phone numbers on the new stickers. They had to have phone numbers that are listed. They had no choice. They couldn't have unlisted numbers because these are public businesses. Otherwise, what's the point of having the telephone numbers? So we made life impossible for them. This is before the internet, before computers, before everything else. This is when telephones were the means of communication. You had to have telephones is how you called businesses and got in touch with businesses. The businesses could not function without open telephone lines. That's how almost all business was done at that time. So they went nuts. It drove them crazy. And it was one of the things that we did that I think was that we did so many clever things. I mean, we used God-given Jewish brains, and we did so many clever things. I mean, we did so many things that we as JDLers could be proud of when there was a real JDL. Now there no longer is, of course. But we did so many wonderful things, all inspired, of course, by the great Rabbi Kahana. Anyway, that's what happened, Moshe, and it was a great story.